In other words,
So we're good?
please be
Please
true.
be true.
Please be true.
Got beat
You
by
good?
squee dot. In other words,
looks like
I
it's
love you. I see what you happen to, but squeak and dot and scott and boot and dang. Hey, thank you.
I'm gonna need some of that for my interview. You
Yeah.
can't be giving that all to one
All right,
person.
it's recorded.
You can't be hitting somebody with a shooty
Let's give it
bop.
about He
and I don't get
snatched
no
his
shooty
mic
bop
off.
at the end.
Let's give it about
That's what I'm saying. You can't give everybody. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I think you're good.
Yeah, we're good.
I skippity hopping dot and squeak and dot.
Wait, now we're doing
Skeetin'
skibbity bibbity bop the booter bop.
South Midnight.
Yeah, we're good. I want to make sure 1,000 times that we're good. Okay.
No, I should have scat as Rue.
You should have scattered. Did you know he's? Oh,
You need the mic?
You know what? We're just going. See that? That's the vibe that we have going here. So I'm Paris, obviously, and I'm at Compulsion Games. And we're going.
Oh, we're
I just roll right into it.
Fine. All right, let's go.
hello.
That's Ahmed Best.
Yes, it is.
You are the voice director on South of Midnight,
Performance and voice.
and you're also doing performance. But do we know what you're performing yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so I
But
won't
I was
even
the
ask.
performance director and
Okay.
voice director.
Nona Parker Johnson, you are the motion capture actress for Hazel in South of Midnight, and Adriyan Rae, you are the voice of Hazel
And
in South.
And
Of,
she did motion.
oh, and you did mocap too. Okay, so there we go. We got to see. So again, we're at Compulsion Games here in Montreal. We got to see the documentary, kind of show off the game, and we got to see the performance and everything behind what you're doing. And it really hit me because I am from the South. I am from St. Petersburg, Florida, but I have spent many a summer in Colquitt, Georgia, and in Russellville, Alabama. So I know the South.
Yes.
And what a performance you've been able to do. What this game is recreating. It is giving a peek into Southern African American culture, Southern Creole culture, which we don't get to see a lot.
No.
And I think that is just so. From the first moment I saw it, I guess that was 2 years ago when they showed the initial teaser and the guitar and all that, and I was like, that might be you. But I was like, I got to keep my eye on this game because we don't get this kind of representation a lot in these games. And Hazel in particular. So being a young Black woman in the South and being the lead character, we don't see that. And both of you are knocking it out of the park. So I kind of want to start here with it because obviously you are the voice of Hazel. What were some of your inspirations for bringing that character to life?
I was deeply inspired by my family. I was deeply inspired by my nana, my grandma, my aunties, my great aunt, and I would actually play and pull from like my great aunt's voicemails that she would leave me for the accent and things like that, and making sure that I was telling those stories and speaking to my truth and their truth at the same time. So those are the things that really inspired me, and also my relationship with my mother.
Yeah.
I'm very, very close with my mother, and so is Hazel. So I aligned with her deeply for that, and I remember the first couple scenes that I did. I was like, "Oh, this is tapping in. This is it," because it was we were in Montreal doing the MoCap, and I just remember I was in it. And then when I finished, you did a good job when the director talks to you real softly. Great. Do you want to do another one? I was like, okay, I hit it. But it just felt so good and authentic, and it was easy to tap into because I had that ancestry to pull from.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So now, question for you, because again, you did I screw it up, but the mocap, right? What is it like doing a performance like that? Because obviously I'm not an actor, I don't know how that goes, but seeing some of the stuff behind the scenes, it looks a lot of physical activity that you're having to do, which obviously translates into the game. So I'll talk about that.
100%. It was definitely a lesson, ongoing journey in endurance.
Yeah.
I think something that helped me really get invested and get into my body was pulling from like just Hazel's passions, her love for track and field and her relationship to her teammates, and it was just something I felt very, very strongly about. I ran track all like my childhood all through high school, state medalist. It was like she's the real deal, and she's, you know, a little cocky, but also like this is her life. She's a kid, and I think I wanted to sit in this feeling of like this individualism that she exuded constantly. And you know, it was like take after take, you know, you get an idea of, you know, what feels good in the body, what feels most comfortable in the suit, which at first feels really restricting, but then you understand like what it's capturing, what it's doing, and I started to free up from there. So it was strenuous, but it felt so good. It took me back to high school a little bit. So it was
I
fun.
imagine. And you said strenuous. I saw you in that documentary. You were sweating
I
when you were doing it.
was.
So
I was.
talk about that.
It was warm in there. We were moving. So
Yeah.
there's a really wonderful scene in there, which you'll all see why I was sweating so profusely. But I think the performance of both Adriyan and Nona really illustrates what's really special about the game, which is the complexity of relationships and generational relationships. And as many people as that came through to perform, either on stage through the performance capture or, you know, doing the vocal performance, they had so much to go from, to work with, because both Nona and Adriyan just brought just this beautiful character to life. And Hazel feels real. She feels like, you know, your little niece, or she feels like your cousin, or she feels like your daughter, or she feels like your grandmother. And the beauty is watching Hazel interact in the game with the generations of people and creatures in the game, and it really grounds you in this world. You know, the world of South of Midnight is rich, it's layered, it's really interesting, it's supernatural, but at the end of the day, it's authentic. And if you are we made the game for people who are from there, right? So if one of our biggest things while we were working was, does this feel like it's from the South?
Yeah.
Right? And will we get killed if somebody from the South plays this game and it's just like, oh no, this ain't it.
Right.
Right? No, Hazel would never say that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, grandma would never do that. Auntie would never do that. Mom would never do that. She would never, you know what I'm saying? So those were the things that we kept each other honest on. And the success, I think, of the documentary and the gameplay that we watched today was the fact that translated, and someone like you who's from there goes, that's the South.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you just real quick, because you touched on a couple things. I wanted to ask you about voice direction, but it sounds like that was part of what your role was in this, was making sure it stayed authentic.
Yeah.
To what these characters would do, being someone as a representative for the South. But you said another thing about generational.
Yeah.
And excuse me, obviously the three of you can answer this, but how important was that to you? Because again, coming from the South, a lot of the folklore of the South is passed down from the aunties, from the Grammys on down, you know, to us. And then it's obviously our job to continue to pass that along. Yeah. How important was that to you to make sure that that was also very authentic in what would be in South of Midnight?
It's enormous. I mean, that's the game, really. That's the game. Even the creatures that Hazel heals, they're dealing with generational pain. Yeah. They're dealing with generational trauma. They're dealing with generational relationships. So the most important thing was making sure that the relationships, regardless of human or haint or, you know, creature, the relationship was real. And we just didn't see a bunch of monsters going ham on Hazel. There was just a reason why they were where they were. And, you know, what was really important was every single monster that Hazel heals, as the monster form, you can feel their humanity. Yeah. And it really comes across when you play the game. But the generational relationships and that respect, you know, the South is really big on respect. You know, even if it's an adult, if you're a kid and there's an adult that you don't even like, that's Miss So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so. Respect is a big thing. So we wanted to make sure that not only we respected the generational relationships, but we respected that authenticity of that part of the world.
I just echo what Ahmed said. I think that we really kept each other accountable.
Yeah.
And the themes of it run deep, and we just wanted to make sure we spoke to it truthfully.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I would say they were really, really thorough in the writing and fleshing out. Like Ahmed was talking about these creatures and their stories and Hazel's relationship to each one of them. And I mean, you'll see it in the game, but it really takes it there. So I think the authenticity was built in, and it was, you know,
like the team did their job for sure.
Word.
They did their research. They took the time. Each, like, because you know, there's like the art department, the animation. There's everyone did their research, and even if they didn't have ties to that area, now they do. Now they have a special place in their heart for the South because they took the time to go down there or research it and learn about it. So I think that also helps with making sure that it's real and authentic, you know?
That's great. And I know I have limited time with you, but please, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out the team at Compulsion because even during, you know, the pre-production phase before we started shooting, we had some uncomfortable conversations. And we had to have those conversations because we needed to respect where this game lives.
Yes.
And, you know, it's always touchy when, you know, we're talking about Black folk, especially in these spaces, because people don't want to be offended and nobody wants to offend you, right?
Exactly.
So there's a lot of tiptoeing around what really needs to be said. And we all had this really frank kind of come to Jesus moment where it's just like, we're going to have to make this game. So it's time to like stop tiptoeing and talk about what it is. And having Zaire and Farah on set as we were shooting, and, you know, being able to go up to them and being like, this don't feel right. And on the spot, they would change it, right? So that openness and that trust and the relationships of all of us were just there. And it really made making this not only, you know, just an experience that was an incredibly high learning experience, but it really made it joyful.
I just want to I just want to piggyback off of that. You know, there are roles that you're cast in where we are Black women that are cast as a role, and then there are roles where they cast you with respect and a wanting of your experience as a Black woman. And I think for this, the team really was so collaborative and so open to us adding in part of our experiences in life to the character, and they were open to it. I know there was a discussion about I was throwing in a yes ma'am or no sir, and it wasn't written, but they were like, oh no, that's great, that's great, or Miss Pearl, and like, you know, just different aspects of respect that I was just raised with. And there were certain lines where they were like, well, you know, she's a teenager, she might do this, and she's you know, she's at that place right now where she's stubborn, and I'm like, she can be stubborn, but she ain't gonna not too much on that.
Exactly.
Or the game will be real different.
Yeah, exactly.
There will be no main character. Her mama gonna smack her.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were super open to it, and I think I'm so grateful for the team. I'm so grateful for their openness and their respect for our craft as well, and what we can bring. It's refreshing.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll just say this as we wrap this up. So everything that you've talked about makes me very happy because, again, being from the South, and it was really that second trailer we saw at the June showcase where you got to see the music and just the atmosphere of what it was. And honestly, my first thought was, I go, oh, that reminds me of True Blood, right?
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. But I love that. But even being a Black man, being a father, I have two daughters, and even more especially my youngest daughter, and more so than my oldest, I think this game, seeing Hazel, she's going to see herself in Hazel.
Right.
And that is very important to me because I live in Southern California, so they've not had as much exposure to the South as I have. And I tell them stuff, and they would look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, no, trust me, it's like that. So seeing a game like this, I can point to that and go, this is what I'm talking about. These are the characters. These are the folklore and the legends of the South, you know, from a Black perspective that, you know, I want you to be educated on, I want you to learn more about. And I think even the game itself, having that lore tab in there, I think it's gonna be very educational for a lot of people that have not been exposed to this culture of the South. So I'm very excited for this game. And I'm performances that I've just a little bit that I've already got to see. I'm very excited to see more of it. And I think you're gonna do all of us a great honor with this game. So I'm very excited for it. So thank you.
Thank you. It's my honor.
That's it. See? Compulsion Games, South of Midnight. Thank you all for being here. And turn the camera off.